The 8th generation of gaming has given adrenaline junkies more options than any other before it. Whether it's futuristic speed-offs or even the race on foot, there is no shortage of ways to make yourself suddenly start sweating when it's neck and neck on the final lap, which is what some of the best PS4 racing games are notorious for. Racing games have always been a part of the PlayStation family's lineup, with Racer and Gran Turismo being two of the most famous IPs in the genre's history. While those franchises are either long dormant or not enjoying their greatest hour, the PS4 only getting a single non-traditional GT game for example, it's been a great opportunity for other franchises to step in. Without Forza to consider, this is a much more competitive and varied list than its Xbox One counterpart. We've gone for a mix of the conventional and the unique with our countdown of the best PS4 racing games, with the top 2 certain to cause a surprise or two. If you want to test your mettle online or fancy some friendly competition with friends when you're 2 sheets to the wind on a Saturday night, here's what you should be checking out. Number 10. Need for Speed Heat. The Need for Speed franchise in the modern day always feels like it's chasing the massive success of the Underground series on the 6th generation of consoles. While not without a few faults, Heat is probably the closest thing to a modern Underground revival that shows plenty of future for where the IP's future lies. Featuring an open world environment, a fancy assortment of cars, and that lovely blend of arcade and simulation driving that makes Need for Speed a great middle ground pick, Heat's silly, Fast and Furious-like storyline is the only thing that really lets it down. Still, if it's a neon-infused corner screecher with a silly amount of customization you want, Need for Speed Heat can provide that in spades. Number 9. ASSETTO CORSA Ultimate Edition. When you want to consider one of the PS4's most underrated racing games, ASSETTO CORSA Ultimate Edition may be one of the most detailed games of its kind, offering even the tiniest amounts of data and possible tweaks on its impressive roster of cars. It's not the most approachable racing game out there, so that may rule it out as a game to just dip in and out with friends. If it's pure solitary immersion you want, however, ASSETTO CORSA Ultimate Edition has you covered. It's been developed with those who eat and breathe diesel in mind, with its cars being as close to their real-life counterparts as possible, so this might be pure escapism if you're a passionate racer. 8. Project Cars. A testament to patience and understanding, Project Cars was a rough diamond at launch that, thanks to regular developer updates and tweaks, managed to buff away its coarse edges and become one of the best racing games on the PS4 for those who love their racing to have no frills. Realistic and uncompromising, Project Cars strips away the guff that undermines so many racers, see The Crew 2, and delivers a straight racing experience. Similarly to ASSETTO CORSA, this is a game that rewards the dedicated, though the learning curve isn't quite as punishing. It's a nice middle ground between being a straightforward racing sim and a casual experience. Project Cars 2 is also worth a glance. 7. Gran Turismo Sport. Isn't it crazy that nobody talks about GT on the PS4? Gran Turismo Sport certainly underwhelmed plenty of people when it first launched, Sony's decision to pitch it as an online-focused racer coming back to bite them. Sport has gone on to become one of the best PS4 racing games since, with polyphony including more single-player elements and a steady stream of new content. It also feels as good to play as you would expect from a Gran Turismo game, though it does still lack the deep well of cars that its predecessors had. Its identity crisis is the only thing stopping it from being higher on this list, but make no mistake, if you want to prove your worth online against other passionate racing game fans, GT Sport could be your best bet. 6. Dirt 4. Dirt 4 is not what you would call an entirely casual experience. Rallying itself requires inch-perfect coordination, and Dirt 4 is no different, or you will find yourself, to put it bluntly, right on your arse. Pitched as the ultimate experience in off-road racing, Dirt 4 has a wealth of content for a relatively niche racing game, as well as offering potentially endless playtime with your stage. Players can create a track whenever they like and challenge themselves and others to best it, and with Dirt 4 being one of the most approachable entries in this series, it may be a good entry point. 5. Burnout Paradise Remastered. While people may argue about Burnout even needing to be taken into the open world, there's no denying that Burnout Paradise may just be one of the most varied racing games on the market. Its remastered edition really doesn't provide a massive step up over its original edition, but it's still just as irresistible as ever. Featuring traditional races that you can either embrace or ignore, Burnout Paradise also allows players to cause destruction to win the day. It's not even slightly realistic and it knows it, so purists may not get a kick out of it, but the second you load up the game and hear Guns N' Roses' iconic Paradise is a moment that you'll be unlikely to forget. And also destroy a street filled with innocent vehicles. Right then, you've re-released it 9 times by this point, EA. Where's the sequel? 4. F1 2019. F1 2019 is arguably the definitive Formula 1 video game experience. It's showing lessons learned from previous iterations to make it something that's almost as good as sitting down like a slob in front of the TV on a Saturday afternoon and watching all the things go vroom. It's not for the faint of heart, however, many races coming down to the smallest of details, just like the real thing. F1 2019 is not something you can just pick up and play, but its improved career mode and extra depth of content make this the perfect entry point for those unfamiliar. Just don't panic when you can barely get off the starting line to begin with. At the time of recording, F1 2020 is not far away from release, so here's hoping it can build on 2019 even more. 3. Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. How do you pay homage to a PS1 classic while also bringing it revving into the current generation? Apparently all you need to do is follow the example set by Beanox with Nitro-Fueled, which has already gone down as one of the best video game remakes of all time. Featuring even more content than the original game and a whole host of extras from the less appreciated CTR games, Nitro-Fueled is the best kart racer that isn't exclusive to a Nintendo platform, though you could argue that it's a step above Mario Kart 8. CTR isn't as fun and carefree as it looks. It will drive you as crazy as Ripperoo until you master those turns and the art of the boost. Shame about them post-launch microtransactions, mind you. We can't have nice things. 2. WIPEOUT Omega Collection. No game really reflects the cool of the original PlayStation quite like the WIPEOUT series. With the Omega Collection, Sony have gathered some of the franchise's greatest hits into a high-speed racer that's still just as dependable for entertaining company as it was 2 decades ago. PlayStation VR owners are also in for a treat with the WIPEOUT Omega Collection being fully playable within a headset. You'll soon discover why WIPEOUT inspired many imitators. Only F-Zero has really matched its breakneck and unrelenting pace. Hopefully, with the success the Omega Collection has had, we may see a brand new WIPEOUT game for the first time in half a decade. I mean, if Bubsby can come back to life, nothing is ever off the table. And number 1, Drive Club. Yeah, we said it. We have chosen to die on this hill and we have no regrets about it. Quite simply, the most underrated racing game ever released, and also one of the PS4's best exclusives that just doesn't get the love it deserves. Evolution Studios' Drive Club really could have been a Forza beta if people had just given it time to find its feet. Drive Club is the best PS4 racing game as it finds a comfortable middle ground between being a sim and an arcade racer, as well as having content for days at a time while also boasting some of the most gorgeous visuals seen on the PlayStation 4. Change the weather to raining, choose Halmstad, load up your chillest Spotify playlist, and find total racing nirvana. It's a crying shame that its online is effectively dead, but regardless of that, it's still a fantastic racing game to play solo. And so there you have it, that's our top 10 list of the best PS4 games for racing. All the lovely racing bits and pieces. Did you agree? Did you disagree? As ever, we'd love to hear your feedback and your thoughts in the comments down below. You can also find us on other social media, the website of course, culturesvultures.com, Twitter @cultvultures, and we've got a few little Facebook pages here and there as well. So thank you for listening, thank you for tuning in, please keep engaged, we really appreciate it. Give the video a like and a subscribe if you feel so inclined, hit that notification bell so you can hear us vulturing, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. But until then, caw-caw.